Hey guys, it's Jeff with Area North 40. I'm gonna do a little bit of a introduction on this other thing that I had talked about in my first video, but it never really paid off. So this bike right here is, I can't remember if he said it was a 73 or a 74, but this is called a TM 400 made by Suzuki. And as you can see, it's super roached and going to be a massive undertaking, but I want to do it. So this bike is actually kind of special. A neighbor of mine, a guy by the name of Scott, lived down, I don't know, about 8 houses down, and I'd drive by. I met him years ago when I first moved into the area, and about a year ago I swung by and I'd been seeing this bike, that very bike right there, next to his house, and I'm like, man, I gotta find out what that thing is, because I had a feeling it was what it is. I didn't know which size, but I had a feeling I could just see enough of it. I could tell it looked like it was a mid-70s Suzuki. Anyway, and my dad had a 73 or 4 TM 400, the baddest, meanest, nastiest bike of all time, most dangerous, literally voted most dangerous bike of all time, at least for dirt bikes. But this is its little brother, so to speak. Anyway, I talked to Scott about it. He told me a little bit about it. It was his childhood bike, and I inquired about obtaining it, and he's like, oh no, I'm keeping that thing forever. Well, as life happens, and so does death, unfortunately, he passed away, like, I don't know, 2 months later. It's very unexpected. He was not that much older than me. I think he was like 56 years old. And it was sad. And you know, I had, like I said, I've known the guy forever, so I knew his kids, or at least the youngest one, and talked to him a few times. And I stopped by to offer condolences, and he and I were talking about the last time I talked to his dad, and I mentioned the fact that I talked to his dad about the bike and everything. Anyway, long story not so short, a few weeks later he asked if I wanted the bike, and I said, really? And he's like, yeah, I'm never gonna do anything with it, and you seem to know more about it, and seemed like it might be something that you could do, and if you got it working and everything, it would kind of honor my dad. And so I'll take it kind of seriously. And I've had the thing sitting there, well, since a little bit before I started this channel, like literally right before I started the channel. The story that he told me is that he rode it and it was great right after getting it rebuilt, and then all of a sudden it just shut off and wouldn't start again. He might have had a bad oil injector and it might have seized the motor. I don't know, it might not be salvageable, but the frame and the wheels and the body of it, it might just need a heart transplant, so to speak. I'm gonna do a little bit more footage on this one once I pull the thing around to the backyard. All right, here we go. Well, there she is for the moment. That's obviously not where it's gonna stay, but I know I've probably bitten off way more than I can chew. Like I said, that motor might just be completely not even fixable or restorable, but there's nothing actually wrong with the frame. And anyway, one of the things that I never understood, but these old bikes from the early 70s, they ran the exhaust out of the head and down underneath the bike, under the frame. So one jump and you hit a rock underneath and you've crushed your expansion chamber. The exhaust opens up and gets wider at that point. It completely stupid, and they all did it. It's like, what were you thinking? In newer bikes, usually on the other side, but it would come along through here, and a lot of times behind the number plate. Several days later. I'm not gonna do a whole bunch on it right now. I just wanted to do a couple things real quick, mostly just to show you that I actually do things. So I'm gonna get the tank and bust off these old fenders and get the seat off and get that exhaust off right here, and see if I can see inside the piston, see if it's even something that can be moved. I'll take the spark plug out and dump some Marvel mystery oil down in there. It's a mystery, nobody knows what it does, but sometimes it breaks pistons free. Alrighty. That is what's left of the exhaust. That goes underneath the bike for God knows why. It's full of nastiness and you know, one-time creature comforts, as in creatures living there comfortably. Complete garbage. I don't know, that clamp right there might be worth saving, so I'll get that off of there. But for right now, toss that over there. That's not worth anything. So now I can get the jack underneath it and jacked up. It's all jacked up. Alright, well, we're all the way up. And, God, that's weird. Maybe I should have put a board on that thing. It just kind of straddled it. But, good enough. Alright. Ooh, we got one to break loose. That's one. Something might go my way on this. Don't want to get too excited yet. It's not out yet, but the bolts have broken loose. Believe it or not, that pipe there, this part of it here might actually be solid enough to, you know, cut it off right about here and then make a new pipe and weld onto that, and that way we'll know that it will actually fit up in there. So I'm gonna see. Of course I couldn't find my needle nose, but I got a set of cutters here. Just grab it and bend it just a little bit. I think that might get me there, I hope. Hey, look at that. And she's done. All right, can you see up inside there? Let me turn on the flashlight on my phone, see what we can see in there. All right, I can see the piston in there. It's actually shiny, so we'll see if we can move that thing around. All right, you keep watching, and I'm gonna smack this thing a few times, see what happens. Oh God, of course everything's backwards. Well, it don't want to even budge. But right now, this piston is pretty well seized up inside of here. I'm gonna see if I can get the spark plug out and then dump a little bit of Marvel Mystery Oil down in there and let it sit for a couple days. And that seems to be the trick that all the guys use. You know, the guys, all of them, they use that, and it works remarkably well, and I happen to have some in the house. So first thing I tried to do was the bolts right here on the seat, and it was just starting to strip out. So I'm gonna squirt a little bit more of that coil on there, and because I want to get this seat off of here, but I don't want to bust the bolts off in there, because when I get a new seat, I'm gonna need to be able to screw it back down, right? So I'm gonna do that. Let's see if I can get this tank off real quick though. Oh yeah, I said I was gonna take the fender off. Let me see if I can unscrew that. Hang on a second. Yeah, that came off real nice and good. Okay, no problem there. Oh man, are you kidding me? It just loosened right up. I don't know if that was the coil or it just was good enough. There we go. Are you kidding me? There's something in there. Yeah, that's in the fuel tank. Do you think that's gonna burn? I don't know. Unfortunately, this is probably entirely unsavable. So I have to try and find either another tank, which I've been looking and they are not anywhere, or if I find one, it's all dented up and the guy wants 300 bucks for it. So I think that'll do it for this portion of the video. I'm gonna get the spark plug out, put that Marvel Mystery oil in there and let it soak up on that piston, see if I can get that thing free. That'll do it for this portion of the video for this bike. Watch for the updates on that. And so now I'm gonna talk a little bit about another bike that I have, and I'm gonna talk about it a little bit, and then I'm gonna ride it, so you're gonna actually see something fun and cool. So stick around, okay? And that'll be this motorcycle here. That is a 1980, I believe, Elsinore CR 250 Red Rocket. Just a quick overview to interject here. The engine is supposed to be the same color as the tank, so is the frame. That's not the correct fender. This one is, but it's pretty rough. So I don't know if you can see up in there, it's pretty cracked out. So I might actually try and get a more modern looking fender that matches that one, because it looks good, and the original fenders on these were kind of, well, just not as cool. So I thought this was a 1980, but the 78, 79, and 80 are all essentially the same thing. And somebody wrote 1978, so you know that's got to be official. So anyway, the Kickstarter was not engaging, and this is one of the things I brought out to Doug to work on, give him something to do, and he figured it out and he corrected it. Right now he would have it back together, but just waiting on a gasket for right in there. So should be riding this thing hopefully pretty soon. Here we go. It is running thanks to Doug. Hey, there's Steve. And so I'm gonna try and give this thing a kick. It's a left side kick, so it's an awkward thing, but I'm gonna see if I can kick it and start it and take it for a rip. So here we go. Getting less and less. That is a ripper. Holy crap, I can't do that without a helmet anymore. That thing came up so fast on me. Oh, yeah. RIPPA. This is a 1978 CR 250 two-stroke, and it is powerful. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it right there, because I'll end up hurting myself. All right. So Steve here, he's so good he can actually kick with his left foot. Watch this. Let my buddy Steve take it for a rip. You better sit further up on that tank, buddy. He's going down. Oh man, the tree blocked the view of that wheelie. You ready to go, Jamie?
Got balls.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Got balls.
Yeah. It's a bike that takes balls too. Very nice.
Oh.
Alrighty.
Don wants it.
You're funny. Casey's like, my turn. Loud.
Alrighty. Alright, so I let my buddy Steve take it for a ride. Steve and I have been friends for a very long time, and I know that he's a good skilled rider. He had a good time ripping it. I had a good time. So what do you think I should do with that bike? Let me know what you think. And yeah, leave a comment. I would enjoy reading what you have to say about this one. This bike has so much more power than I ever expected. Like I said, it's a 1978 CR250 Elsinore, and I mean, it's just a ripper. It's a lot of top end, meaning that when it hits the upper power band or upper RPMs, it hits the power band. I mean, right off the bat, I wasn't even trying. That thing started to come up on me in first gear before I shifted to second. And I'm leaning forward, and I was like, God dang. I mean, it's obviously on the road, so it's got major grip, but I think that this bike might be more than I can handle. I mean, it doesn't scare me or anything like that. I'm not wearing a helmet. I'm riding in the street. I live on a small cul-de-sac, so I can kind of get away with that for a little bit, but not too much. Some old lady down the road is probably going to get mad and, you know, call the cops if I keep going, but you know, I bought this thing from a friend with the intention of riding it and maybe even doing like the vintage racing. That's what he used it for. But he's, I think he's about 5 or 6, maybe even as much as 10 years younger than me, and he decided that he was done. And he didn't really say why, but I kind of think I know why now. And I've been riding my whole life. I mean, this is nothing new to me. But the power that this thing, I had a CR500, literally twice the displacement as this thing, and I don't think it hit any harder than this thing. I need to talk to the guy I bought it from to ask him, hey, did you bore that thing out? Did you, I mean, is it, you know, is it beefed up inside? Because I just did not expect it to hit so hard. It's so powerful. It's for me at this age and this stage of my life, it's almost unusable power. Fun to take a rip down the road and back, and I'm, you know, maybe I'll hang on to it long enough to take it out to an actual riding place out in the dirt and get all geared up and everything, and get used to it. And it's awesome. It's a exhilarating feeling to ride something this powerful, but at the same time, you know, my bones is brittle. I don't want to break them. So I like the 2-stroke power. If you're back in the early 70s, they started realizing that you could get a lot more power out of a less cubic centimeters or displacement. and it was lighter, so they could get that kind of power. But it's all top end. These things, they have a power band, so down low, when you're in the low RPMs, kind of lugs along, but then all of a sudden it's like it's a turbocharger. It's crazy how it works. And I'm sure there's a science to it that I won't go into, because I don't know. I just know that it kind of, I'm sure you could probably hear it. It just kind of goes brap. That's why they say brap. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen anything that shows a motorcycle on it where it says brap along the bottom. That's what it's talking about. It's talking about that, where it just kind of starts to go and then it hits, and it's amazing. It's awesome. It's scary, and that's how motocross was built. And it took till the 2000s to make a 4-stroke motor that was almost double the size, be able to have the same kind of power this thing has from 1978. So it's amazing, but I think I might want to go with the 125. The 125, it's half the size and displacement, a little bit lighter weight, but it's the same height and physical dimensions, so I can still ride it. Being a guy that's almost 6 foot tall and over 200 pounds, I could still ride a 125 and have a lot of fun, still be a 2-stroke and have that kind of hit, but be a little bit more, hopefully a little bit more manageable power. I also have 4-strokes for trail riding and stuff like that, but for really getting out there and hitting it hard, I'm gonna run out of power on a 125 before I would on a 250. I will never get the full power that this thing has. The reason I bought the 500 is because I thought I might run out on a 250. If I could go back in time, I would have gotten a 250 back then, because I would have known right then, no, I'm never going to run out of power on this thing. But anyway, this is also a very cool, very vintage classic bike. It deserves to be restored. So I'm seriously debating this, whether or not I should hang on to it, or whether or not I should, you know, pass it on to the next guy, restore it. I don't know what I'm gonna do as of right now, but I'll figure it out here in the near future. Maybe I find somebody who has one that's a 125 that they'd want to trade or something like that. Both get a good deal out of it. But this is a young man's game. I mean, there's a reason why motocrossers retire at 27. I'm no longer a young man, unfortunately. This one definitely makes me feel my age, and I'm just going in a straight line up and down the road, let alone, you know, doing these big jumps and stuff like that. So for right now, I'm gonna go put it away and catch my breath, let my heart rate come back down where it's healthy. And so I hope you were entertained by this video. I hope you're enjoying my videos. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned.